am married to my husband, who we will call Scott. So Scott is AP security to secret shopper at a big corporate store. He goes to work looking pretty fresh, smelling good. He's a good-looking guy, so he gets compliments and whatnot, which makes him feel good, and I totally get it. They can look but don't touch, you know? Anyways, so there's this female coworker who we will call Karen, and Karen is married. The other day, Karen went on her secondary Facebook she uses for online gaming and messages my husband. It started off innocent at first, asking things like, "Is this Scott the guy from work?" and turned into saying things like, "Hi, Scotty," he doesn't go by Scotty, and then asking for relationship advice about some other guy at work who is not Karen's husband. So one night, she messaged him, and out of the blue, she asks my husband if he would like to make $30 an hour being someone's side piece. He immediately showed me and involved me in the conversation. As the conversation continued, it became clear she was talking about herself. That totally caught me by surprise because who does that? My husband tried to nicely tell her that's not the way to handle things and she needs to fix her relationship. He also said some stuff that I was not at all happy with, like that he understood her frustration. This caused a fight between us, and I ended up taking upon myself to message her and ream her out for doing that knowing he's married. She wasn't at all remorseful and made excuses. She acknowledged in previous texts to my husband that he has a wife, so she knew. He also immediately reported this to HR, as this is sexual harassment. However, they are dragging their feet. In the meantime, she ended up approaching him again at work, asking him why he showed me, his wife, the messages. He blew her off basically and said, obviously she was going to see them and he just doesn't want this to be awkward. He told me this, and I told him it's going to awkward no matter what, and he needs to be more clear with Karen about wanting nothing to do with this. Fast forward another week. She messaged him again at work this time. She tells him, "Come to the back room," a place she knew there wouldn't be anyone around. He said, "Why?" She never answered him via text. Later that night, she walks up to him asking him to delete that last text thread. This is where he finally told her off and basically said, "This BS has to stop. I'm not dishonest with my wife, and this isn't going to happen." She walked away and pretends everything is peachy. The next time she sees me, smiles and tries to say hi. Here's where I become the asshole. I don't think it's very fair to her husband to not know and just be with someone who does this kind of thing. So, I Googled and found him and his phone number, and then I called him and told him the whole story. Edit to address the comments of me being too harsh on my husband. In their first conversation, she ended up feeling stupid and tried to backtrack and say, "Ooh, I'm sorry." My husband responded with, "Don't be sorry." This is what really made me upset, because not only did he excuse her behavior, but said he understood her. I saw red. He admitted this was a poor way to handle things and is fully supportive of me being petty. She messaged my husband last night, late like 11:51 p.m. I'm guessing her husband finally went to bed. So showed my husband the post, and he wanted me to correct some things about this part of the story. Mostly about the way she spoke to him when she messaged him at 11:51 p.m. Immediately upon messaging him, she started to try and deflect blame to him for the encounters and minimizing all their previous interactions. Tried to say, I'm crazy for stalking her husband to get his number, and he didn't need to go to management, and that I probably forced my husband to do this. This is where he got pissed at her and told her she needs to stop lying to herself and her husband deserves better. He told her he had nothing to do with what I did, but she most certainly tried stabbing the wrong bitch in the back, and to please enjoy a taste of her own medicine, Beck GeoMom commented. This is all that needs to be said. OP's husband, while sometimes trying to placate Karen in an attempt to get her back off, clearly told her he wasn't interested. She knew his wife knew about the texting and messaging because the husband told her. She knows he's married, she's married, and one time she even approached him on the job. That inviting him to the back room thing would have been the end of it for me. As someone else said, if the roles were reversed, HR would have called him into the office that day. Them dragging their feet is clearly self-protecting and sexist. If OP's husband decides to get pissed, that company is going to be sorry they didn't handle this properly from the jump. Beck Geo Mom commented, This is all that needs to be said. OP's husband, while sometimes trying to placate Karen in an attempt to get her back off, clearly told her he wasn't interested. She knew his wife knew about the texting and messaging because the husband told her. She knows he's married, she's married, and one time she even approached him on the job. That inviting him to the back room thing would have been the end of it for me. As someone else said, if the roles were reversed, HR would have called him into the office that day. Them dragging their feet is clearly self-protecting and sexist. If OP's husband decides to get pissed, that company is going to be sorry they didn't handle this properly from the jump. User avatar odd phrase 5808 commented, "Oh, come now, OP. Don't leave us on that cliffhanger ending. That's cruel. What was the fallout?" Well handled, both of you, and Scott needs to report HR's inaction to corporate. That's not right, that they're pretty much brushing off a sexual harassment complaint by a man. Guaranteed if a woman reported the same thing, they'd spring into action before she's finished filing the complaint. That needs to be dealt with, swiftly and harshly. Sexual harassment is wrong regardless of the genders involved, and every case should be taken equally seriously. User avatar Virtual Ganos responded, "Don't pick on self-checkout workers, though. They're just trying to do their jobs and get through their day like everyone else. When you think about it, they have just about the worst job. They spend long periods with little to do. They have to deal with angry, arrogant, entitled people. They have to act as loss prevention and